Okay, and what do we start with? Number 4? Yeah, we can do number 4. This one should be pretty simple. I don't think there's too much to talk about in this one, but let's see. So what Schumann is doing in this one here is basically repeating the same phrase every 2 bars. It's just repeating the same thing again and again. So we have... And of course, entreating child, these are kind of strange translations for this. It's not exactly, whoop, here we go, here's how the pen works. See? Okay, it's more like pleading child, I would say. Pleading. Pleading child, yeah. I'm going to learn to write nicer with this pen. Yeah, entreating, it's a little bit confusing. L'enfant qui prie, again, it's not a prayer. Prie is to beg, or begging child, that would also be good. Begging child, okay? Pleading or begging child. That's a good translation here. And is that, I don't know why the top of my, I know why it's cut off. Okay, it's going to be like that today. That's okay. All right, so begging child, maybe that's a better title for this. So it's kind of like he's saying, please, please, please. There's a diminished 7th right there. Here's our diminished 7th. And I think you can do more on the diminished 7th and then resolve it. Ta-dee. So not but rather more on this chord and resolve it. And then it repeats, okay? If you're looking for good recordings of these pieces, I think Arthur Schnabel is probably one of the best. You have that on YouTube. And you know, it's surprising, but he's very straight, maybe a little old-fashioned, but there's not too much tempo changes in all this, or too much rubato, let's say. However, it is important to take time in the right places, especially every 4 bars, okay? So in this case, sorry, this one here, Tia-da-dee. See how we did take a little bit of time there? You just wait a little bit before starting that section. So that's very good. See, yeah, maybe this is better. Okay, so it would sound something like this. You see just that little tiny fraction of a second there before we go into bar 4. And then we have this again 2 times. A little softer, this one. And here's where we're going to take time. So you see a way of doing this, if you're going to wait here and take a little time before starting this one, you could back this off a little bit, those last few notes in the right and left hand. They're shared here. It looks like this. The thumb takes the A. But if you take a little bit of time there, then 2, 3, 4, you see how that makes a natural sort of start to that new phrase, instead of just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, which is okay, but it would be better 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then he writes that ritardando, yeah? I would suggest small ritardando the first time, almost nothing. And then the second one, more ritardando, right? More rit on that second one. So something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And if you want, you could listen. Tee da tee da 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 dee da da da. You could slightly bring out that line one of the two times, but you don't want it to like take up too much space. Would be a little bit too much, you know? Just color it a little bit. That's the first one. Now colored by the middle voice. Back to tempo here. And last one we're gonna slow down. Sorry. And that's about it for this one. The other question is, I like to take this D right here with the left hand. Looks like this. That just makes more sense to me. And then I put a 1, 2 here, not like this. So that's how I prefer doing it. Another thing here is when you have ta-dee, you want to sing that interval. How can you sing this beat-um like a singer would, or a flute player, or whatever? Ta-dee, let's say a wind player. I would recommend play this in the front with your arm like this. Just drawing arrows here, as you can see that we just did this. So play this in the front. So you arrive in the front. Sorry for the audio delay. And this, then this one more in the front, because you want to sing it, right? And you want that note to come out. You don't want, right? You don't want this note to be softer unless you're doing it intentionally to make it more expressive, which you could do. Maybe not in the very first time you have it in the piece, though. And then this is a rotation. You see that movement here? See, you could do that the second time. This will vary it, since you're repeating everything twice, and this thing here you're repeating 4 times. So you could make that second note and you could make it softer if you're intentionally doing that to make it more expressive. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So here we have the Pleading Child. Pleading Child. I think it's a better title. And actually in the Henley edition, if we look here, it's probably something other than entreating. I think it's pleading, isn't it? It is, yeah, Pleading Child. Okay, so that's also the Henley one. Pleading Child. That's it, okay? So it has that kind of like, please, please, please sort of quality. They're complaining. Both a slightly louder one that's kind of sobbing, complaining, and the other one, the pianissimo, could be kind of like more of a quiet complaining, like a resentment or something. Almost like you're complaining to yourself. You know, when a child is complaining, sometimes they're complaining so someone hears them, and then, you know, they don't get what they want, and they keep on kind of muttering and complaining to themselves. It's a little bit like that. Okay, here we go. That's it for the Pleading Child. Let's move on and do, shall we do number 5? This one is a little harder.